So let's get into the main topic here, all right? To get real serious now, all right, like that.
Real serious.
Mel Tucker. You know who Mel Tucker is?
Yeah.
Have you heard this guy's name? All right,
Yeah,
Michigan State a head coach. All right, like that. You know, some serious allegations. All right, like that. And you know,
Super serious.
I can, you know, towards the end, I really want to double back, you know, or, you know, in what the do's and don'ts, you know, in your own, you know, area, your environment, you know, your gym, you know, so to speak, your sanctuary and stuff like that. All right. But Mel Tucker, you know, Michigan State's University's head football coach right now, some deep, you know, allegation, hot water. Yeah. All right, for sexual harassment. All right, sexual harassment is you know, right now is really coming to the forefront with a lot of that Me Too movements and stuff like that, and you know, a lot more people are really standing out, and you know, and really
it's weird, bro.
You know, making sure that they're heard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that. It's just hard enough, you know, to speak about it just because out of your own self-esteem, your confidence of what it did to you and stuff like that, and you know, a lot of is anybody can really believe me and things like that. You know, but then, you know, now with this movement, like what you just said right now, you know, how to, you know, just really want to tread real lightly on this subject because that's how serious it can be. But then, you know, a lot of times, man, you get those people, all right, that where they're just, you know, jumping on the train and like, you know, it's one person before you know, like 50 people.
It's 100 people,
Yeah, and like it's like, whoa, is it really true? It's not like that. So, okay, allegedly, all right, that's, you
allegedly.
know, like that. You know, keyword. And then, but in today's, you know, you're in the environment and stuff like that. You know, do you really feel at this point, you know, you're guilty and proven? I mean, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Or is it that you're
guilty
until you're proven innocent?
100% the other way around.
You know, but even though, like, once allegations are put out there, like that, you know,
the thing with all sex allegations,
you can't get that bad.
You never come back from that.
Yeah, you know, it's already said.
Come back from
you know
that.
what I mean? Like it's
done.
What's the saying that they say? You know, once the stone's been thrown, you can't get it back. You know, once the word's been said like that, and there's another one, you know, like that. But you know, that's what it is. It's already, you know, it's out the box.
It's done.
All right, but you know, right now is just a lot of hearsay. Okay, he's at risk of losing, and I don't know if you know this part. Over $80 million left on his contract.
I was gonna say that's his contract. That's his contract amount.
He's already in 1 year of his one of the most lucrative contracts in football, college football. All right, over $95 million.
10-year, right?
No, 2 years. Not 10 years, 2 years.
It's a 2-year contract.
It's a 2-year contract, 95 mil. All right, he has 80 mil left, right there, and is on verge right now to lose it all if found guilty. All right, so you know this is still ongoing. Okay, and so all right, so if no one, if this is the first time you're hearing it, all right, he partnered up with a rape survivor. All right, now that she has made it her mission. All right, Tracy.
You got her name.
I don't want to say it backwards because it's like two first names. No, so I was gonna say Tracy Brent. No, it's Brendan Tracy.
Okay.
Like that. All right. So, you know, she was a survivor. She was a victim. You know, now, you know, and then so she partnered up with the football team so she can educate all the students, the players, you know, about the program and have a lot more awareness and things like that. You know, and then so everything in a nutshell, her and Tucker, you know, one thing led to another, all right, and they were on a conversation, all right, on a phone conversation. So this is where, you know, my paranoia starts to kick in, or like, you know, like, all right, because Mel Tucker does not deny any of the allegations, all right. What his argument, all right, is that this was all consensual, all right. There's two mature adults, all right, in a consensual, you know, relationship. Like that, and so it came out that he was touching himself, or even as far as, you know, masturbation over the phone, you know, during phone sex, you know, like that. And then, you know, whether, you know, that was the straw that, you know, that you know, that broke the camel's back, and then she felt uncomfortable, all right, and then finally said something, all right, or it just what is it behind behind that, all right. So let's put this in too now, all right. While this was going on, all right, this all led up from text messages,
right,
from a text message to a 36-minute phone call, okay, like that, and then within these text messages before the phone call, there was even subjective freaking pictures, in there, of her half naked and stuff like that.
Right, back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth, like that. So how do you see this playing out in court?
So here's the problem. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, it'll ultimately end up being fine for him because of the subjective back and forth, and it's just over the phone, right? Mm-hmm. Like so I don't know if you remember, but back in the day when everybody was like, Mike Tyson raped that girl, he went down on her for an hour. How? Like mm-hmm. Right? Like how?
They said that there's a recording of him on the phone. Like, who's recording this?
But it's not only who's recording, but if if you're on the phone with somebody and they start mad, you go, "Oh, what the fuck?" and you just hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Like you don't
stay 36 minutes on the phone call.
Chill, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
But so some of that is weird and it's subjective. But here's the real problem,
mm-hmm.
and this is the part where I see a lot, and people don't think about playing in. So there are things about your life. Mm-hmm. and your upbringing that people just don't know in general.
Yes.
Like they just don't know. Some people know, some people don't know, but most people don't know. So somebody can say something to you that they didn't know, but then triggers you in a completely different way,
mm-hmm.
just because they didn't know the background. Now,
yeah.
the problem that you have with, and I say problem very loosely, but the thing that you encounter a lot with sex assault survivors is they're very easy to re-traumatize and re-victimized.
Yeah.
They're very, very easily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the re-victimization comes in the terms of silence and acquiescence. So, for example, you have a young lady who was sexually assaulted by her father,
mm-hmm.
right? Or grandfather or whoever.
Yeah.
But she's sexually assaulted all her life, and they just don't say anything. So she mm-hmm. just allows it to happen. But in her head, she doesn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
But when she grows up and, some dude starts kissing on her and there are unwanted advances, she resorts back to,
this is normal.
Yeah. She resorts back to childhood,
mm-hmm.
and she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
But in her head, she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And then she goes back, and then the dude is going, she never said no.
Yeah.
And so now you're in this real weird situation. Like mm-hmm. it's a super weird situation because she didn't say no.
Yeah.
She didn't stop. She didn't try to push him away. Everything that was going on was happening inside her head. She wasn't crying.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't, there was no reason for him to think that there was something wrong. And that happens a lot. But when it happens, you now end up in a situation where you have a guy, like once that bell is rung, it's rung.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody, no matter what happens, if somebody listens to that recording and you listen to the full recording, and in the full recording, she's, oh baby, yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
She could be doing all those things
mm-hmm.
as part of her victimization.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she was a victim. She's just, I just need to get to the end of this to get away.
Yeah.
Instead of, and so no matter how it turns out, dude's always going to be a rapist.
Yeah. Well,
he's going to be labeled a rapist. It's going to follow him for the rest of his life. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how it turns out. It doesn't matter. Just like there was a guy who just in some state, he just got exonerated when they let him off because of some rape charge from months ago. He gets let off because of some DNA or something. And when they're there, the victims are like, he still raped me. Mm-hmm. And like, but the DNA said it wasn't him. Yeah. And they're like, but he still raped me. So, mm-hmm. He spends years in prison for sexual assault. He comes out. Nobody's going to say that's the guy that was accused of sexual assault, but he's not really. He didn't really say. People now have it.
Oh, that's the rapist.
Head. He's the rapist, and it's a hard stigma to get by. Though that guy there was several different players, both basketball and football from various colleges. One in California, I think.
I think it was Duke, wasn't it?
There was some in Duke. I think
Wasn't
there was a dude
it
at
lacrosse,
Baylor.
though?
There was the Duke lacrosse team.
Yeah.
There was a dude at Baylor. There was a football player in California.
Yeah.
All get these rape charges, allegations, and then career up in smoke.
Yeah. You know, you see, and that's, you know, just obviously as a victim, when you are a victim, you know, like that, and 100%, like, you know, you need to say something, and you need to find the right people to put this person, you know, behind bars, and get him, you know, the justice, get yourself the justice that you need and stuff like that. You know, yeah, there's a lot of just different mixed emotions, and, you know, of what you should and you shouldn't, like that. And then, but then you hear like that, like because you hear like, you kind of almost hear it half and half all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where there are people that, you know, need to be held accountable, and then freaking be, you know, and due process. And then there is like that's like, you know, freaking something just doesn't add up.
Right.
And then he's paying the price with his career, you know, like that, because then everything finally came out to light. Oh, she was just trying to get a money grab, or they were just trying to do this and like that, whatever it is, you know. And it's like, what is to believe, you know what I mean?
Bro, that's...
Have you ever had a high profile case, you know, worked on it before, like that?
So it wasn't high profile.
Yeah, or
it was super low profile.
Yeah.
But there was an instance that I had to deal with 20 years ago, where a woman accuses this guy of raping her, and she details when she details the rape, it sounds very weird, because, you know, he says he wants to have vaginal sex, she says no. He says he wants to have anal sex, she says no. He says, well, then let's have oral sex. She says ladies don't do that. So there's this weird negotiation of the rape, which just sounded weird. Right.
And she's negotiating.
Like the way, and so it's like, that sounds weird. Well, ultimately, so everything goes and it plays out, you know, whatever. And it ultimately plays out at the end of the day that what happened was she was young. She was 18, 19 years old, and she had cheated on her husband. And then when it came out, I mean, there was DNA, like the location where the sex occurred, all the stuff was there was DNA in the guy's truck, like the whole thing. But it came out that it was like a defensive, like once it came out, she wanted to hide everything from her husband, right? So whatever, but like somebody's whole life is like
on the line,
on the balance of that. Now, I've seen the exact opposite too, where, you know, one thing, you know, I've seen the exact opposite, where this is like, this dude is a shitbag and should never see the light of day again.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so but like you said, it's very difficult, because in the legal field, we call it a delayed outcry. So something happens today and you don't tell anybody about it for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's a delayed outcry, because now presumably all the evidence is gone.
Yeah.
It's 3 months in the wind.
As like, you got 48 hours to fight a murder. You know, you're telling me I gotta get all put all the puzzles together 3 months later from now
with like nothing, no DNA, no nothing, and it's just your word against his word, and who do you believe? There's a ton
of hearsay. You know what I mean?
Who do you believe?
Like how? Okay, what as for attorneys, and to make sure that y'all find the right outcome and stuff like that, when there is a lot of hearsay and it's my word against your word, there's not DNA, and and then you gotta go off of these text messages and like that, and what on the defense and the prosecution side, what is the plan between both those sides on who's right or wrong? You know what I mean?
I think that when it comes down to situations like that where it's all hearsay, I think that's what our judicial system is. I think that's what our jury trial system is actually for, right? Like I'm going to tell you the story, because you and I can sit here right now and hear one story told by someone and come up to two completely different conclusions by the story, and it happens so much, because it all does come down to who you believe and who you don't believe, right? Like a lot of times, and this has never been a thing for me. Like I've always said, you can absolutely rape a prostitute. Like I 100%, like 100%. But then there are some people that yes, you can rape your wife, and then there's some people like, how do you rape your wife? She's your wife. And I'm like, what?
She could still say no.
Yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
you know.
that's a real thing.
Yeah.
But there's other people, and it just depends on what, how does the story, she says this, he says this, but if 30 minutes before the phone call, you're sending subjective text messages, and then you say, hold on, I'm going to call you, and then the phone call happens, it's like, well, what? It seems like this is what, like, that's the direction it was headed. But and sometimes you just have to let, like, a group of people decide.
So,
like,
okay, so
out.
the group, the jury out there and stuff like that, subjective aside of or hearsay and stuff like that, and obviously they're all, prepped and told like, this is the evidence. All right, because there's objectively, you can't deny the evidence,
Right?
Like that.
This is
what is your expertise? What does the evidence tell you?
So so to me, and that's the thing. Like, for me, in a situation like this, or like any situation, I say that what we have to do is we have to look at the person's actions that we're actually talking about. And this is from either side. This is from the defense, this is from prosecution, this is just from a law standpoint. The law saying we're trying to hold this person accountable for what they did. So let's look at the evidence as it relates to what they did. And if what they did was, they called up their homeboy, they said, I need a gun, because I'm going to go rob the 7-Eleven. And then they go to the 7-Eleven. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all premeditated right now.
I mean, that it looks like that's what's gonna looks like that's what's gonna happen. On the flip side, if the guy calls his homeboy, says, "Hey man, I need some chips," he said, "I'm gonna walk down to the store and get some chips," and then he goes to the store. He, you see him on camera. He walks in the store. He grabs some chips. He goes to the counter and leaves. And then the cashier says, that guy just robbed me. You're like, well, he said he was going to the store to get some chips, and all the evidence just points to him going to get chips. And you just let it play out. You're like, just how does it look? For me, I look at who has not really the motive to lie. Yeah. But like who has the most to lose and who has the most to gain. Yeah. Right. In this, in certain situations, people have, they can stand to gain a lot. Like you have people that lie in custody battles all the time.
So I had this conversation. I was talking about this the other day with one of my personal training clients and stuff like that. And they're talking about conspiracy that they want them out. You know what I mean? So they had heard things like that. So like that itself is a whole nother can of worms. And so like that, so one of the richest deals, he's not, freaking actually doing the job. He's not producing, with the football, as a head coach, and now they don't want to pay him. Like, even that's been thrown out. So
those things exist, except in a situation like that. I say, Valdez, you're supposed to make $500,000 over the next 2 years, right? They're like, man, I don't like the way this is working. I say, look, I'll give you $100,000. Just go now. You gotta do anything else. Like, why not just pay you out? Yeah. Why go through all the? Now, I believe in conspiracy theories.
Let me see, because I just saw this too. And go ahead, keep.
I believe in conspiracy theories 100%. But I mean, that's a lot. Like, bro, that's a lot of planning to go through and just, we're gonna find something, because he bought the chick in. So they would have to say, who you gonna bring in? Then go get in her ear after he brings her in. To set, but conspiracy theories are, they are a thing. I mean, you can consider them, but that's a lot, bro.
Hey, you know what? I think you are right about 10 years. I'm looking at it right now that you are. Yeah, I think you are right about the 10 years like that. So they're gonna have to pay out that $80 million if to buy him out for the rest of his contract. Bro, yeah, but he's gonna be lost.
But you can negotiate like a good lawyer. You just negotiate it. You just negotiate. Say, look, you were gonna make 95. That's 9.5 million. We'll pay you for the rest of this year. We'll pay you for next year. Just go. Bro worked half a year and got 2 years worth of salary. Yeah. You got 19 million. Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, but PR wise, how do you recover?
Him or the
Yeah.
team?
Now the team is going to keep going because there's going to be a new class of students the next year anyway and stuff like that.
So if you don't throw rape allegations at him for your conspiracy, it's easy for him to recover.
Yeah, right now,
But now,
I'm starting to see the narrative is changing where it's sexual misconduct.
Right.
It's not rape charge. You know what I mean?
Right. So sexual misconduct. So you know what happened with sexual? So your boy, designer. You heard what happened to him, right?
Didn't he get caught peeing?
No, masturbating in first class on a plane.
masturbating. Yeah, masturbating.
right.
That's different.
No, but
was that a private plane? I don't know.
No. He was in first class on a plane. The steward was like, "You can't do that."
Something
he was like,
wrong
"Whatever."
with him anyway, bro.
Bro, way wrong.
Whether he's wrong, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. All right, it's 100% wrong. But whether something's a loose screw or something like that,
he's a little bit off. But they use this sexual misconduct, kind of like they have a law that they passed in Texas called improper student-teacher relationship. Because what was happening was teachers were sleeping with students.
Yeah, all these middle school teachers.
No, but it's not even for them. Yeah. It was for the high school teachers that were sleeping with the 18-year-old girl because she's legal. She's not underage now.
Okay.
So, but they said, okay, but we still don't want somebody with power sleeping with somebody with a subordinate, essentially. So they changed it to improper student-teacher relationship as a charge.
Yeah, that's another thing right now that they're talking with Michigan State University because now that it's turned into a misconduct, all right, it's still they're still holding him accountable because it's against their policies. Right. All right. Now now that they're seeing
they're
that
use that to get him out his money.
Yeah, exactly. You see, that's why freaking those the conspiracy things are coming out. She was saying, all right, maybe he's not going to get prosecuted, through the law. He might get out of that. But now, you know what? You still freaking violated our policies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're an employee and things like that. So
that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. Going back to what you're saying, with the high school teacher and the girl student stuff like that. Yeah. All right. She's 18. It does violate, the actual state laws. All right, but you know what? You're violating our policies. So
that's a real thing, bro.
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
I see it as a lose right now for him. Because whether he gets his name cleared, like that, I'm like, this is still gonna follow him PR wise. And then worst case scenario, he is convicted, or they do find him freaking freaking guilty of what they're saying like that, and for sure he ain't never gonna be hired anybody else nowhere else.
The thing is, consensual, not consensual. It's if it's consensual, like people have sex, right? Like people have sex, and that's that's whatever. But when it comes down to the misconduct part of it. What you as an employer are looking at now is, do I want somebody who does, they call it misfeasance, but do I want this bad actor under my employ where they could fuck around and Penn State me?
Yeah. No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, do I want that?
Yeah, they don't want to be aligned with anyone like that, so they they just get rid of them.
So now you're out now. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Good thing for him. Good or bad thing. You still got $8 million if you invest it right.
Yeah,
you don't have to work anymore anyway.
Yeah, it's he's honestly right now in between a rock and a hard place. And so it's in due time. The evidence will show and stuff like that, and see what's gonna happen. Everything that we're talking about right now, I don't really see a good outcome for him at all. Maybe he does get paid some money out like that. If he's best case scenario, he gets paid out. Some money, and then he goes about his day. But he probably, it's going to be very hard for him to find another job.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for him to find another job.
So it's not even a real win.
It's basically a death knell for somebody who is in the profession of teaching. Your job is to teach students to do the like it's a death knell.
Yes.